You're watching The Buck Stops Here, and it's time now to introduce our newsmaker tonight. The film Masaan, due to open this weekend, has already got critical acclaim and rave reviews and even bagged an award or two. Set against the burning ghats of Banaras, it explores the paradox of a city that is simultaneously an ancient city and yet, like most small town and not so small town anymore cities in India, open to the influences of modern technology, YouTube, Facebook, globalization. When these two sets of cultural values collide, what happens? Masaan explores four different stories, but all interlocked against, as we said, the ghats where people come to cremate the dead. One of the key characters is played by Richa Chadha, somebody who's also at least got my attention because she's not scared to speak her mind. Quite unusual for a film industry that more often than not tends to play it safe. Welcome to The Buck Stops Here, Richa, and looking forward to watching the film.
Thank you.
But before I get to you and ask you about the film, I was intrigued by your self-description on Twitter. And here, and somewhere it dovetails into the movie as well. And this is what you say about yourself. An egg white omelette is a fair, pleasant and non-threatening creature of manufactured sexuality. I'm a sunny side up. What I take from this is you're not manufactured and you're not embarrassed about embracing your sexuality, and you enjoy being threatening.
I mean, I don't enjoy being threatening, but I'd much rather be provocative than be
bland.
Safe. Yes, bland. You know how egg white omelettes are so bland and tasteless?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's quite a statement to make in a sense, because does it define this perception of Richa as this bumptious Punjabi? I'm one, so I kind of know, I recognize it in another person, you know, who's like, what in Punjabi they call a daddy aurat, somebody to be slightly scared of.
No, I'm really not scary at all, but I mean, what I'm trying to say is mostly for people from within the industry who always have a thing or two to say about, you know, the color of your skin or, you know, the size of your assets or things like that. So this was mostly like a tongue-in-cheek reply to those people, but unfortunately not everyone got it, because I had a few people saying, oh, she endorses pita, but she's talking about omelette.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's positively like a dumb response. Like, there's no other word for it.
But that's what I get a lot.
No, I think the statement, and it is quite evident to me, but I'm just wondering whether it is a kind of life statement. Is it like saying, I may be whatever I am, but I'm never going to be boring?
That's true. And I try not to be in my work also.
And yet when you chose Masaan, you actually had people saying, why are you doing this low-budget, arty movie?
Correct.
And you showed them the finger, literally.
Yes, that was after we won a few awards.
Yeah, we have that photograph, in fact. But what made you do it?
Well, the film itself.
No, show them the finger.
We were all high on the success of the film, and the final ceremony had just happened, and you know, we got the standing ovation, which was much more than what anybody would expect. And then one award came, and then another award came, and it was really historic, and it was really moving and overwhelming. And I finally felt like a little bit validated that, hey, you know, I know a good script. So.
You mean you had moments of self-doubt about choosing it?
No. I mean, you know what happens is, as you grow, it's a lot of well-wishers, and like there's a think tank and there's advisors who tell you what not to do. So they would be like, you know, it should. Low-budget film, you know, there won't be any songs. You know, songs can lead to dance performances and shows, and hence revenue.
And there'll be no item number for the shadis.
Yeah, nothing to do at you know, events, appearances, and weddings. Again, there's no makeup. You're wearing such loose clothes, you know, and this like synthetic material. There's no stylist. All those things come. They're well-meaning people, but they speak from their limited understanding of. I mean, I want to be in a memorable film. I don't want to be in just any film. I mean, I'm sure I will be doing just any film also, but that's to balance things out. It'll be foolish to turn down a role like this.
One of the previews, I haven't seen the movie, I hope to catch it in the theatres, but one of the opening of the movie, a friend who's done the music partly for the film, Rahul Ram, told me, is actually your character and you're watching porn on your computer.
Yes, that's the first shot of the film.
Which has to be the first time that you actually have a mainstream female character in cinema surfing porn. At least I can't think of a movie where I've seen that.
I can't think of it either.
And it's without fuss or comment or scandal.
No, she's just she's curious. It's natural for her to experience that curiosity, and she wants an outlet. And that's what, you know, the funny thing is, we are living in these urban sort of Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore kind of spaces, and we think, you know, this is where the world begins and ends. But there is a whole emerging India which is in the smaller towns, where there is money, where there is technology, where there's exposure. So my director Neeraj Ghevan and the writer Varun Grover actually traveled back and forth to Banaras for a long time, maybe a year and a half, backpacking their way through schools and colleges and speaking. And they actually found out that several women get off to porn. They admitted to it, and it was amazing. It was liberating. It was eye-opening, and they decided to include it in the film as something that is not, you know,
that is routine.
That's routine, and something that's natural, and something that the film never judges the character. It's the society around her which always judges her. And I think that sensibility comes from the director and the writer.
Another preview said that, you know, in Masaan, a kiss is just a kiss. That it's a film that's just matter of fact about sex.
Yes.
And you know, we don't have enough of that kind of cinema, right? We either have this hypersexualized depiction of women, you know, the whole item number thing, or you have the whole sort of entrenched social conservatism about how you project sexuality. There's never any matter of factness about sex.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to grow up about it actually, really, because what happens is it's either repressed, which is what causes the hyper images, and or the other way, when they can be, you know, tend to be prudish about it. I mean, in this film, when you see it, I hope you do soon, it's not at all, I mean, it's not a male gaze in any way. It's just life. And as it happens, it's a sweet moment, and it's not something that is asexual at the same time. It's just what it is.
But you know, it's interesting you talk about the male gaze, because this has been a debate that I haven't been able to resolve for myself, which is that, you know, we want to say that gender is all about choice, and when a woman does an item number or has a camera traveling, sort of, you know, traversing her navel, it's really about a woman embracing her sexuality. But somewhere has hypersexuality just replaced one set of stereotypes about women with another? And I'm just wondering how you navigate that question of sexuality. When does it become something that the camera is using to titillate that male gaze?
You know, there is a celebration of your own body, and then there is titillation. And I think you know what you're doing when you're doing it. I mean, I'm speaking as an actor. But about the male gaze, I think we've gotten so conditioned to looking at our bodies with the male gaze, that we no longer know what it was like before. Do you get that?
I do get that. It's such deep social conditioning.
Yeah, it happens from such an early age. It's probably your classmates telling you something about, you know, how big your thighs are, to whatever, you know, it starts there and then it just goes on.
Yeah. And tell me, you are one of those few people, I would say, who's quite outspoken. I find most of the industry quite safe. I've had people as senior as Mr. Bachchan tell me that, you know, people come and then disrupt your your movies if you take a position. Everything becomes a headline.
Yeah.
You called the PM's selfie with daughter campaign sweet, but you said more is needed. Seems like a perfectly reasonable statement to me.
Yeah.
They got after you for that.
I got trolled for it, but I thought it was ridiculous. I mean, all I was trying to say that it's sweet, it's creating awareness, and, you know, but it's definitely designed for someone who has a camera with a front camera phone.
Yeah, then you first need the smartphone to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's a prerequisite to take a selfie. I wasn't dissing the campaign. I think it's really a nice effort, and, you know, a lot of people went about it, and then people spoke to me and said, you know, this initiative was started in Haryana, you don't know anything, and, you know, you're trying to get cheap publicity, and, you know, this is, even in the urban centers, there's a feticide is high. I said, I get all that, I'm not critical of it, but, I mean, I think also the interview made it seem like I was being, and
if you chose to be critical, what's the big deal? I mean, you're a citizen of a free country.
Yes, absolutely, but apparently not. I mean, I feel like the internet has just made everyone so relevant that they just start trolling, and it's ridiculous. You can't do anything. I mean, you just like sit back.
But you know, there's what happened to Neha Dhupia, there's Shruti Seth, there was Dia Mirza before that.
Really?
Yeah, just for expressing a sort of semi-political opinion, you know. You have the sort of the army of bhaks, as they're called, coming after you. So how did it impact you? Did it make you?
No,
Did it make you feel I'm going to be more careful about what I say the next time?
No, this happened to me when I tweeted about the beef ban.
I was going to ask you about that. And
yeah,
I have that tweet in front of me. It says, the intention behind... No, let me read the previous one first. Listen, one and all, I'm a vegetarian, which means I believe people should not eat animals per se. However, I question the intent of the beef ban. The intention behind banning meat from a particular animal is divisive in my humble opinion.
That's exactly what I said. It's because I was my first tweet was, you know, I oppose the beef ban because it's divisive, and I am a vegetarian. I mean, I don't even use leather for the most part. I mean, and I'm actually vegan. That's why I'm having black coffee. But I'm saying what I'm saying because it doesn't make sense. Is you're trying to create one animal as being superior to any other. The whole point of being vegetarian or vegan is to say that all life is created equal, all species are created equal. And despite that, I believe that if the intent behind banning something can lead to some kind of division in society, it should be really reassessed.
And did the trolls come after you?
Yeah. You're a fake, you're whatever. But they don't get it. These are the same people who said egg white omelette ka status likhti hai aur vegetarianism ki baat karti hai. So I was like, whatever.
So do you reply to trolls? Does it ever intimidate you?
Does
it intimidate? You know, it would be awful if it intimidated somebody.
No, it doesn't intimidate me, no.
Do you pause and think the next time you express an opinion on Twitter?
No, I'll just laugh, but sometimes I'm just really tempted to just block people so that they get out of my timeline, because I'm trying to get through life, and you know, so you don't want to just get through your phone and suddenly you see so many notifications and you're like, "Arey, hua kya?" And there's so many other things to deal with, you know, apart from, but people really get after you. They need to understand that if someone is expressing an opinion, they're not, you know, strangely of late, it's become like either you're with us or against us kind of thing.
The new avatar of George Bush.
Yes, and it's really, it's scary because it's in the social media, and what's scarier is that I find that the trolls and the bhaks are all like really young. Like I actually go to their bios and I see they're all like, you know, second year student in Nagpur, something, and all like that, and I just feel like, you know, they're so disrespectful and misogynist for the most part that they're not worthy of replying.
The way women get targeted online is very, very different from men.
And you wonder why. I mean, I'm really thankful for the internet and everything that it, you know, we are having this conversation because of the internet, but I'm saying that you really do think that can there be nothing to control these people who are, and it's vicious attacking. John Oliver said something. I mean, I'm not big enough to be attacked in that kind of manner. I mean, you know, when Mr. Bachchan says something, or when Amir Khan's film gets stopped in Gujarat, those people are making a point. I'm really small fry, I think, so I don't really matter that much. But having said that, I feel like there should be some checks.
No, I agree with you, and we all deal with it on a daily basis. Talk about being a woman in the industry. You know, you've had people now like Anushka. She was on this program and she said, why don't we get paid the same? She got dissed for Virat Kohli, you know, doing badly on the field. I mean, she's utter crap sexism. People go after Sanya. You know, so how has that experience played out for you? Have you had to deal with the crap misogyny that is woven into the industry as well?
Not so far. I've been lucky. I mean, I've been on the fringe of things. I've not really been in the
mainstream of it yet.
100 crore, 200 crore masala things, you know. And I mean, I'm happy where I am. I mean, I'm exploring all kinds of cinema, but no, not really, not so far. But I'm aware of all of this, and I do think that these are all valid points. But you know, I feel like deep down the industry somewhere used to be very sexist and whatever, but of late, past 10-12 years, we've had amazing female talent, directors, writers, producers, and that's the key. Things start changing when they're on both sides, you know, not just in front of the camera. So that's one big change I see, and I feel like things are coming to a point of parity.
Now you said once, and I'm going to actually play up the satirical video that you did with Aditi Mittal, but you said once about men that they're complex, and if they haven't had sex at the right age, then God help you.
Yeah, I mean,
what did you mean?
I meant that, you know, this whole like dirty old man thing happens when you know you can't, when you're repressed at a young age, or when you're, you know, criticized, or people call you ugly, gawky, whatever, and you know the girls are not interested. It just comes out in a different way, I feel.
But you did speak about this kind of generic male insecurity. You know, if you put up a hot picture of yourself on Instagram,
Exactly. And I think these are things that we look at the world over. I mean, there's so many people, female celebrities all over the world, that are just specifically targeted because they're women. When a man does the same thing, then they're... I'm just really like, are we still going to question that? Are we still going to just allow it to happen? It's so silly. How can you be like, I mean, you don't hate somebody because they have round ears and someone has... So we are men and women, come on, we are born that way.
Okay, I want to take a look at this sort of this spoof using a Meatloaf song and what it says about your gender politics. Let's just have a look.
And I would do anything for love. I wore this dress to highlight my rack. Mom said you were decent and you were straight. My biodata, height and weight. I don't know cooking or stitching. I definitely don't do yoga. Find out I'm not a virgin, pata nahi tab kya hoga. Your biological clock is ticking. We just want you to be happy. We really want to hold our grandkids who will take care of you when we die. And I would do anything for love. I'd like to pay my half of this check.
That was my favorite moment. I love the pay half of the check, because too many women are still romanticizing chivalry and economic romance. What did this little spoof say to you? Why was it important? I mean, I know the messaging, but why was it important to you?
Well, because I'm like a middle-class Indian girl, and you know, I have relatives who are constantly asking, okay, you know, work is good, so it's like your hobby, you know, you're doing this thing, oh wow, what fun. So what about marriage? Have you seen somebody? Are you seeing somebody? Are you dating? And then it just slowly you start realizing, you know, your friends start dropping like dominoes pins. And you hit 24, 25, and it's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And that's really just strange to me. I mean, and when Aditi told me that she wanted to try, I said, it's perfect, let's do it.
And does that happen to you?
Not so much. I mean, you know why? Because my parents are really liberal and cool people. Because they were rebels in their own time. So I'm quite safe like that. But I mean, I get it, and it's quite painful.
How does a girl who studies history at St. Stephen's, which is also my college, go from there to here?
I always wanted to do just this. You can ask even the teachers in college. They were just not happy that I was not attending so many classes, and I was always around doing things outside of college, theatre, dance, whatever. Just, you know, I believe that if you know what your calling is, there's really nothing else you can do.
So let me end by asking you, describe Masaan in one line. Why should somebody go and watch it tomorrow?
Because it's really, truly coming of age of Indian cinema. It will be one of the most memorable films you will see. It is an indie film, but it will cross over from nihilism to optimism. You should see it.
From nihilism to optimism, looking forward to seeing it. It's a pleasure to have you on the Buck Stop.
Thank you so much. Thank you.